What's up, YouTube? Okay, let's get into the stream. Let's talk boxing. That's what we come here to do. Okay, let's see this intro. Let's go on this thing. There's lots to discuss this weekend. Let's chop it up. For free, to have you say, just add Deaje TMG on your Skype to join the conversation. Oh, it's killing music. Let's get straight into this. So, lots of boxing this weekend. Haney Munguia, Devin Haney, as predicted, got their wins in fashionable style. We've also had the announcement of Nigel Benn fighting is it Beaker? So lots going on this weekend. But the big story is Tyson Fury versus Otto Wallin, of course. Nobody really saw this as being a competitive fight going into this match. A lot of people were disgruntled, including myself, in regards to paying for this via pay-per-view. But the way the fight played out with the introduction of the cuts, it actually made this fight a bit more competitive than we expected it to be. With the cut coming into play, it was a case of, could Fury fend off the referee, the doctors and such by the end of the fight to claim the victory? I mean, Fury was always going to be the only person going to win this fight, but unless, you know, somebody stopped it for some freakish reason like this cut, and cuts are part of boxing as well. It's just one of those things. It doesn't really matter if you're up on the cards. A lot of the time, if that cut stops the fight, after that third round, you know, it's curtains, and you're the guy who's going to have to pay the price for that, to be honest. I mean, Fury was masterful yesterday in regards to actually making a point of winning the rounds. The action that was taking place was ultimately decided by Fury in regards to his intent, his movement. It's debatable if Fury got hurt in the last round, although you could see Wallin was starting to catch him with a couple of shots, which made it look like the fight could have been in the balance. But ultimately, Wallin didn't have enough to take care of Fury and take care of that cut, to get that benefit of the doubt, to get that nod as it is. So, just one of those things. What's up, Beyond Dreams? Tyson Fury did win. A cut threatened the fight. There's a cut rather early on in the fight, and that was the tail of the fight. whether Fury could survive until the end of the fight to get the decision, to get the victory. In the end, Fury did enough. He fended off Wallin enough, but it was touch and go for many a time within the bout. I would have to say Tyson Fury probably owes Tony Weeks a beer. He probably owes his cut man a couple of beers. And he wants to get around in for the doctor too, because it was really touch and go. But ultimately, Whalin didn't quite do enough. Question for me is whether a more vicious counter puncher would have done better against Fury yesterday. I mean, would you put Dillian White in that scenario where Fury's cut and he's using his body and movement to keep Dillian White away? Would Dillian White be savvy enough to counter punch and attack and finish the fight just based on them cuts alone? Because let's face facts, Fury is one of the hardest fighters to come across when it comes to actual skill. When it comes to skill, movement, spacing, I dare argue timing as well. Fury is historically one of the better fighters you'll ever see at heavyweight when it comes to these things. I mean, his movement and his jab, when it's on point, is masterful. It's probably one of the best jabs you'll ever see in heavyweight history. You know, it sounds like a big overstatement, but honestly, think about it. I mean, who historically are the best jabbers in heavyweight history? Compile your own top 10 and tell me if Tyson Fury's not in it, at least. And then maybe whittle that down to the top 5 and tell me Tyson Fury isn't in there again. I mean, historically, he is one of the best ever. Now, a lot of people talk about this era as being another golden age in regards to the riders and runners in this one. And I tend to agree, but it's very rare in this scenario where we have some of the top athletes of any era within the heavyweight division. Again, if I switch gears and bring Deontay Wilder into this argument, historically, he's probably one of the top 5 punchers in the heavyweight division. In fact, I'd go even further and say it's hard to not include him in your top 3 of historically hard-hitting heavyweight champions of all time. His power is freakish. Now, combine that with the fact that you've got Fury in this era, and until recently, the consensus was Joshua was probably the best of the bunch. Maybe that consensus has gone out the window now. Joshua has been beaten, but let's see how he comes back against Ruiz, and let's see if he establishes himself way back into this heavyweight picture, and let's see what sort of melting pot we've got here with today's heavyweights. I predict the likes of Wilder and Fury will be losing as well. I don't know if they lose before Joshua loses again, but I do predict in this golden heavyweight era we're going to see a lot more losses and such. It's just these big super fights to happen now. We're looking forward to them, obviously, just like any other boxing fan. So incredible times ahead. Now, a lot of people are going to see Tyson Fury's performance yesterday and try and look at flaws in his game in regards to what he did well, what he didn't do well. What I would probably say we need to factor in is the fact that maybe Fury didn't prepare as committedly for this opponent as he did for the likes of Wilder and Klitschko. I don't think Fury actually gave Wallin that much respect, to be honest. I don't think that was helped by the fans. We were expecting him to just walk through this opponent in a similar manner which he did to Swartz. I think a lot of people were expecting the KO, but Wallin proved to be one tough customer. Question is, does anybody really want to see Wallin again? Is he that good of an opponent where we think he can actually give other heavyweights an actual run for the money? You know, is this a gatekeeper type fighter? You know, I think that's still questionable, to be honest. We didn't see anything really special from Wallin yesterday in regards to being a fighter which is going to give you problems, who's going to be a little bit tricky. Um, there was a bit of roughing about when it comes to Tyson Fury and that cut, obviously, but you've got to do what you got to do, especially when you're in there in a dogfight. It's just one of those things. But yeah, I mean, interesting times ahead. Interesting times ahead. So the consensus has been that Fury is going to not step aside for the winner of Joshua Ruiz and is going to fight Wilder next. Now, the Wilder crowd, and let's face facts, there is a Wilder crowd. There's a boxing crowd who appreciates all boxers, who likes Wilder, Fury, Joshua, all the players. I think I and probably yourself belong to that crowd. Then there's the Wilder fanboys. I believe they're going to see yesterday's performance and believe the timing might be right to pick off Fury, to be honest. They might have seen things in that fight which may lead them to believe Fury could be a little bit vulnerable in regards to his resistance to bleeding, his punch resistance. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. It's making for a rather interesting rematch between the two. We might get a more decisive winner after the Wilder Fury rematch. I mean, yesterday was only close just because of the cut. If there was no cut, this was a textbook Tyson Fury win, a shutout on the cards. He wins it by several rounds, double figures, and that's all she wrote. But never that simple. Never that simple in this game. You know, there's a cut, and yeah, it just makes the whole climate of a fight just so different. But yeah, for one of those things, you know, some interesting fights in the weekend. Munguia, of course, did what he had to do. Got his guy out of there. Haney, very much the same. There is some talk about Haney fighting Lomachenko. Eddie Hearn is pushing for that fight. I'm not quite sure if that's a real good move at the moment. I mean, Haney's doing some brilliant things. And without a doubt, it's a fight that I would love to see. But is it a bit premature? This is what I'm wondering, and this is what I want to hear from you guys. Is Devin Haney a little bit green for a Lomachenko fight, considering some of the top amateurs and top prospects in world boxing still don't seem like they're quite ready for Lomachenko? Or did Campbell show us enough to suggest that Haney can do better, especially the fact that Haney is a similar stature to Campbell, but probably a better mover and a better puncher as well? Is Haney just going to give Lomachenko all sorts of problems? But is it best for him to fight now, or does he need to wait a little while? You know, get a couple of more fights with a little bit more adversity. Does he need to learn a couple of things, get a little bit more rounds underneath his belt? You know, yeah, we want to know these things. Munguia as well. Munguia, does he need to be in more competitive fights at the moment? He's like one of the top rated guys in his division now. So, you know, a lot of big things away at the moment for him. But, you know, is he making these fights look easy now? Do we need to see him step it up? Um, you know, because personally, I think it's more pressing for Munguia to step up rather than Haney at the moment. I think Haney has quite a bit of time to, you know, build his brand, and it's obviously going to be a big, successful brand. He's a good speaker. People gravitate to him. Um, you know, so you're actually building a product there. Munguia, again, you know, he seems like he can get big numbers now. End of the day, I mean, this weekend should have been all about him, to be honest. But you know, should this be the sort of time where we're looking at next year, thinking, you know, this weekend next year, you need to own this weekend to Munguia? You know, I like to suggest that it should be, you know, on these holidays. You know, step out the shadows of Canelos and such, and just, you know, really do your thing. More interesting news. It seems like Canelo and Kovalev will be happening as well. I imagine there's going to be some sort of title on the line for Canelo to pick up, rather than Kovalev coming down to pick up one of Canelo's. And personally, I don't really like the fight, but I think it's a fight that Canelo wins, to be honest. I think Kovalev might be on his way out, and Canelo might just be too good of a fighter. Whether his power can translate into those higher weights is yet to be seen, but I imagine um, he'll have something for Kovalev up there. You know, Canelo is so skillful in regards to his upper body movement. If Kovalev seems like the same Kovalev which went to fight Anthony Yard, I'd question, you know, how far a matchup would go between them. To be honest, if the same Canelo turns up, who was dodging those shots by Danny Jacobs, I think it's an easy night's work for Canelo and a shot on the cards. But yeah, just one of those things. I mean, another live stream. I want to thank everyone getting involved in growing a brand on Facebook as well, while I've got a chance to actually do that. Because let's face facts, Facebook brand is absolutely going bananas. Um, let's have a look at these numbers that we've got here on Facebook. So if you don't know about the Facebook group, we're just doing over 11,000 people there. And it's going to be interesting to see how we actually reach out and grow the community here. We've kind of done it in 2 separate stints. It's at the point where I have to seriously look at the branding now and probably refresh it a little bit and think about how we are reaching out to people as well, and get them involved and help keep the conversations popping and this news coming in. So yeah, we're looking to do great things yet again. But yeah, it looks like we're heading towards another quiet weekend when it comes to boxing. So yeah, we'll probably do a Q&A, probably do some more brand work, and we'll probably open up these phone lines again. So whenever people want to talk in, voice voice an opinion, we're going to keep those conversations flowing. So yeah, let's wrap this one up for now, and we'll catch you next week. Peace.